There are moments in life when patterns appear too precise to dismiss as chance. Repeated numbers, perfect alignments, and events that unfold as if scripted all point to a deeper order within the universe. The phrase, "there are no coincidences," challenges us to look beyond randomness and uncover hidden connections. Whether through science, spirituality, or synchronicity, reality reveals clues that guide us toward greater understanding. In this video, we explore how meaning, mathematics, and unseen forces shape our experiences, urging us to question everything we believe about fate, choice, and destiny. When we hear the word coincidence, most of us think of two unrelated events happening at the same time without any deeper meaning. But what if these moments are not accidents? What if they are signals of a hidden order governed by mathematics? Synchronicity, a term popularized by the psychologist Carl Jung, describes meaningful coincidences that seem connected beyond cause and effect. Numbers, geometry, and probability often play a crucial role in these experiences, making us wonder whether chance is truly random or if it follows subtle mathematical laws. For example, when you repeatedly see numbers like 11, 3, 33, or 4, 44, it's easy to dismiss them as mere quirks of perception. But statistics show that the human brain is wired to notice patterns, and numbers that appear repeatedly often align with times when we are more conscious, more attentive, or more emotionally charged. This suggests that synchronicity might be less about random occurrence and more about the interaction between external probability and internal awareness. Mathematics gives us a framework to understand probability, yet it also reveals the limits of randomness. Consider the law of large numbers in probability theory. The more trials you run, the closer outcomes converge to predictable averages. This law applies to everything from coin flips to stock market fluctuations. But paradoxically, within this predictability, there are outliers, moments that seem to defy expectation. Synchronicity often arises in these outliers. It's as if the universe occasionally bends probability to deliver a message. To some, this might sound mystical, but mathematics itself is full of patterns that appear mysterious at first glance. The Fibonacci sequence, for example, shows up in flowers, galaxies, hurricanes, and even the structure of our DNA. Prime numbers follow a distribution that has puzzled mathematicians for centuries, and yet they form the invisible backbone of encryption and digital communication. If the fabric of reality is built on mathematical principles, then meaningful coincidences may simply be the universe expressing its underlying code. One of the most intriguing aspects of synchronicity is the repetition of certain numbers and geometric shapes. Sacred geometry, an ancient belief that shapes like circles, triangles, and hexagons carry spiritual meaning, can also be analyzed mathematically. The diagram of overlapping circles, known as the flower of life, appears in spiritual traditions worldwide, yet its geometry also reflects fundamental ratios of space and time. When people encounter repeating numbers such as 111, 222, or 333, they are experiencing not only numerical synchronicity, but also alignment with universal ratios. Mathematicians would argue that given enough time, any number will appear frequently, but the timing and personal significance of these moments cannot always be explained by chance. It's the timing, the intersection of numbers with human experience, that gives synchronicity its power. To illustrate, imagine you are thinking about an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and moments later, you receive a message from them. Statistically, the probability of this happening at any given moment is low. But when you broaden the scale of time, days, months, or years, the chances increase. Mathematics tells us that rare events are bound to occur if you wait long enough. However, when the event happens exactly at the moment of thought, the alignment feels beyond probability. This suggests that synchronicity lives at the edge where mathematics meets consciousness, where statistical possibility aligns with personal significance. It is not the rarity of the event alone that makes it meaningful, but the connection between mind, moment, and mathematics. Modern science is beginning to explore these ideas in new ways. Quantum mechanics, for example, demonstrates that particles can be connected through entanglement, instantly influencing each other across vast distances. This interconnectedness challenges our traditional view of cause and effect. Similarly, chaos theory shows that even in seemingly random systems like weather patterns, hidden order emerges from complexity. These scientific insights echo what ancient traditions have long suggested. The universe is not a collection of random events, but an interconnected web of patterns and probabilities. From this perspective, synchronicity can be seen as a glimpse into the underlying order of reality, mathematical tapestry in which our thoughts, actions, and experiences are woven together with cosmic precision. Ultimately, the mathematics of synchronicity teaches us to pay attention. Numbers, patterns, and probabilities are not just abstract concepts, but tools for decoding meaning in our lives. They remind us that even in chaos there is structure, even in randomness there is rhythm. By recognizing the mathematical patterns behind synchronicity, we begin to see life not as a series of coincidences, but as a meaningful journey guided by principles that transcend chance. In this light, mathematics is not cold or impersonal. It is the very language through which the universe communicates with us. Each repeated number, each improbable alignment, and each so-called coincidence becomes an invitation to look deeper, to recognize that behind the veil of randomness lies a deeper design. Numbers don't just count, they speak. Life often feels like a sequence of ordinary events, commuting to work, meeting people, scrolling through messages, or simply noticing the time on a clock. Yet, within these daily routines, patterns constantly reveal themselves. Many dismiss them as coincidences, but when you begin to pay attention, it becomes clear that hidden structures and recurring themes are quietly shaping our experiences. The idea that there are no coincidences becomes most apparent in the everyday details we usually overlook. For example, how often have you thought about someone, only to have them call or message you within hours, or noticed repeating times like 11, 11 or 4, 44 on the clock, just as you were pondering something significant? These experiences may seem trivial, but they point to a subtle alignment between our inner world of thought and the external flow of events. Psychology suggests that humans are naturally pattern-seeking creatures. Our brains are wired to find order in chaos. This tendency helps us survive, predict dangers, and recognize opportunities. But beyond survival, these patterns sometimes feel like messages, nudging us in specific directions. When daily life becomes filled with such coincidences, it challenges the idea that everything is random and instead suggests a deeper order linking thought, timing, and circumstance. Patterns in daily life often manifest through numbers, symbols, and sequences. Numbers like 3, 33, 7, 77, or 12. 12 are classic examples of what many call angel numbers, which are thought to hold specific meanings depending on the culture or belief system. Even if you are not inclined toward mysticism, the repetition of these numbers is striking because they appear in ordinary contexts. Digital clocks, receipts, license plates, or even page numbers in books. Such patterns gain power not because of the numbers alone, but because of the moment they appear. A repeating number might catch your eye during a moment of uncertainty, offering reassurance or prompting reflection. Skeptics argue this is simply selective attention. Once we notice a number, our brain subconsciously searches for it more often. While this is true to some extent, it does not explain why these moments frequently align with periods of heightened awareness or emotional significance. The hidden pattern lies not only in the numbers themselves, but in the timing of their appearance, forming a dialogue between us and the world around us. Beyond numbers, hidden patterns also emerge through synchronicities with people, places, and objects. You might meet a stranger who shares your birthday, or hear a rare song on the radio right after thinking about it. At first, these events seem purely accidental, but when they stack up, they create a sense of meaningful alignment. Carl Jung, who coined the term synchronicity, believed such experiences were not random but indicators of a hidden connection between the psyche and the material world. In daily life, these synchronicities often feel like guideposts, as though the universe, or perhaps the structure of reality itself, is responding to our internal states. For instance, if you are contemplating a major decision, you might encounter repeating symbols or hear the same phrase from different people in a short span of time. This repetition functions almost like an echo, reinforcing a particular thought or direction. Patterns like these challenge us to question whether we are merely projecting meaning onto chance events, or if there is truly a larger design at play. Hidden patterns also appear in cycles of behavior, relationships, and opportunities. Many of us find ourselves encountering the same type of challenge repeatedly until we learn the lesson it carries. For example, someone may repeatedly find themselves in similar conflicts at work or in relationships, regardless of the people involved. This recurrence is not random, but part of a larger pattern embedded in personal growth. By recognizing these cycles, we gain the chance to break free from repetitive struggles and move into new stages of life. From a psychological perspective, these patterns reflect the unconscious mind drawing us toward unresolved issues. From a spiritual perspective, they may represent lessons the universe places before us until we integrate their wisdom. Either way, daily life patterns act as mirrors, showing us where our attention is needed most. Even in nature, patterns mirror those in our lives. The rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, the changing seasons, and even the migration of birds all reveal recurring rhythms. These natural cycles are so consistent that we often take them for granted. Yet our lives unfold in cycles just as surely as the world around us. A person might notice that significant changes tend to occur for them at the same time each year, or that certain emotional states rise and fall with the lunar cycle. The hidden patterns of daily life are not isolated from the cosmos. Rather, they are threads woven into the same universal fabric. When we begin to observe these rhythms more closely, we realize that our ordinary days are saturated with meaning. Ultimately, the discovery of hidden patterns in daily life transforms how we experience reality. Instead of seeing the world as a series of disconnected events, we begin to recognize a flow, a story unfolding with us as both participant and observer. Each repeated number, each synchronistic encounter, and each recurring cycle becomes part of a dialogue between the self and the universe. What once seemed like randomness now feels like guidance, offering clues and nudges in the direction of growth and awareness. The key lies in observation. The more we pay attention to the subtle details of life, the clearer these patterns become. They remind us that nothing is accidental, that meaning hides in plain sight, and that our daily experiences are connected by invisible threads of order and significance. When we embrace this perspective, even the smallest events of the day take on a luminous quality, pointing us toward the profound truth that there are no coincidences. Numbers have always carried more than just mathematical value. They carry vibration, rhythm, and energy that influence how we perceive reality. In daily life, numbers measure our days, track our progress, and calculate our choices, but on a deeper level, they act as symbols of hidden forces shaping existence. Ancient civilizations understood this long before the rise of modern science. The Egyptians built pyramids aligned with celestial numbers. The Mayans created intricate calendars based on cosmic cycles, and the Greeks studied numerology as a sacred science. Numbers were not merely tools. They were keys to unlocking the harmony of the universe. Even today, when we encounter repeating sequences such as 11, 11, 222, or 777, there is a sense of significance beyond probability, as though the universe uses numbers to communicate. Each number holds a frequency, and when these frequencies align with time, when they appear on clocks, dates, or cycles, they create moments of synchronicity that feel charged with energy. These are not random glimpses, but reflections of the way time itself unfolds according to hidden laws of order and vibration. Time, like numbers, is not as straightforward as we imagine. We measure time through hours, minutes, and seconds, but what we call time is in many ways an artificial structure created to organize human life. In reality, time flows in cycles, not straight lines. Day turns into night, seasons repeat, and planetary movements create endless patterns of rhythm. Numbers are the language through which these cycles are expressed. For instance, the cycle of 7 appears repeatedly in nature and culture. The 7 days of the week, the 7 visible celestial bodies of ancient astronomy, the 7 chakras in spiritual traditions. This repetition suggests that numbers are woven into the very essence of time, giving it form and meaning. When we notice repeating numbers at certain times, such as glancing at the clock at exactly 3:33 or 11:11, we are catching a glimpse of how these cycles intersect with our own consciousness. The numbers are not creating the meaning, they are revealing it, showing us the rhythm of time in relation to our thoughts and emotions. The idea that numbers hold energy is not limited to mysticism. Physics itself suggests that the universe is structured in mathematical patterns. Frequencies, waves, and vibrations all follow numerical laws. Sound is measured in hertz, light in nanometers, and even brainwaves vibrate at measurable frequencies. Each frequency corresponds to a state of energy, and numbers act as the blueprint of this vibration. When certain numbers repeat in your experience, they can be seen as indicators of resonance between your personal energy and the universal field. This is why people often feel a sense of calm, encouragement, or heightened awareness when they notice repeating numbers. It is as though the frequency of the moment matches their inner state, creating a bridge between the personal and the cosmic. This resonance connects numbers and time into a dynamic dance, one that constantly communicates meaning if we are willing to listen. Consider how significant life events often align with certain numbers or dates. Many people find that key transitions, birthdays, anniversaries, turning points, fall on dates with repeating digits or meaningful patterns. This is not always coincidence, but can be seen as a reflection of cycles unfolding. For example, the 9-year cycle in numerology suggests that life events often repeat or transform every 9 years, mirroring the energy of completion and renewal associated with the number 9. Similarly, the number 1 represents beginnings, and it often appears during moments of new chapters in life. When such numbers appear in time, on dates, clocks, or cycles, they emphasize the energy of the moment and provide guidance. In this way, numbers act like markers along the river of time, reminding us of where we are in the larger flow of our journey. Modern technology also highlights the intimate link between numbers and time. Every digital device we use, from smartphones to computers, functions on coded numbers. The binary system of zeros and ones is the foundation of the digital world, and yet these codes govern our schedules, alarms, and connections. Ironically, while we use these devices casually, the numbers displayed, especially on clocks, become some of the most common sources of synchronicity. Glancing at 11. 11 is no longer just a quirk of timing. It's a moment where human life intersects with the digital code of the universe. In that moment, numbers and time merge into a single symbol, an energetic alignment that many experience as deeply meaningful. Ultimately, the energy of numbers and time teaches us that reality is not random but rhythmic. Numbers express vibration and time reveals cycles. Together, they form the structure of existence, reminding us that every moment carries a unique energetic signature. When we become aware of this, we begin to live with greater intention. Instead of dismissing repeating numbers or meaningful dates as chance, we can treat them as invitations to reflect, align, and trust in the hidden order guiding our path. Numbers are not static. They are alive, pulsing with the rhythm of time. By paying attention to how they appear in our lives, we can attune ourselves to the subtle energies of the universe, recognizing that every tick of the clock, every repeating sequence, and every numbered cycle carries a message. It is in this awareness that we see most clearly. There are no coincidences, only the endless dance of numbers and time guiding us toward deeper understanding. At first glance, life seems unpredictable. People bump into each other by chance, unexpected events alter our plans, and sudden opportunities or setbacks appear without warning. To most, this is randomness, the uncontrollable chaos of existence. But what if randomness is only an illusion, a veil that conceals the deeper order beneath reality? The universe is often compared to a vast, complex machine where cause and effect govern every outcome. But the human perspective is limited. Because we cannot see all the variables, we call events random. In truth, what feels like chance may be the unfolding of hidden patterns that we have not yet recognized. The illusion of randomness exists because we are standing too close to the painting, unable to step back and see the larger design. Just as someone watching a single raindrop fall might call its path unpredictable. Yet scientists can measure rainfall patterns with astonishing precision. Many so-called coincidences in our lives may actually be governed by subtle laws of order that our awareness has yet to perceive. Randomness has long fascinated both scientists and philosophers. In mathematics, probability theory attempts to describe random events, from the roll of dice to the shuffling of cards. Yet, even in these seemingly chaotic systems, patterns emerge. Casinos and statisticians know that while individual rolls or draws cannot be predicted, the outcomes converge toward predictable averages over time. This principle, known as the law of large numbers, reveals that what looks like disorder often conceals hidden order. Similarly, chaos theory shows us that systems that appear unpredictable, like weather, traffic flow, or stock markets, are not truly random, but are instead highly sensitive to initial conditions. Tiny shifts can lead to massive differences in outcome, creating the illusion of unpredictability. From this perspective, randomness is not real disorder, but complexity so vast that our minds cannot follow it. The events in our lives may operate the same way. What feels like chance could be the result of countless interconnected causes beyond our immediate perception. This illusion becomes even more fascinating when we look at synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that defy ordinary explanation. Imagine thinking of an old friend only to meet them unexpectedly that same day, or receiving guidance from a stranger at the exact moment you needed clarity. Statistically, these moments may seem improbable, but the more we look, the more they occur. Skeptics argue that we are simply pattern-seeking creatures who remember the hits and forget the misses. But synchronicities often carry such emotional weight that they transcend mere probability. They occur at pivotal moments, almost as if reality itself is responding to our inner state. If randomness were truly random, why would these coincidences so often align with our thoughts, emotions, or decisions? The more logical explanation is that randomness is only an appearance, and synchronicities reveal glimpses of the hidden order guiding our lives. The illusion of randomness also shows itself in personal patterns. Many people find themselves encountering the same lessons repeatedly, similar challenges in relationships, recurring opportunities, or cycles of growth that unfold like chapters in a story. On the surface, these events may appear unrelated, yet upon reflection, the connections become obvious. Life itself seems to have a rhythm, almost like a teacher who repeats lessons until the student understands. When we call these events random, we overlook the possibility that they are designed to guide us toward growth. Just as a novel weaves together subplots that only make sense when we reach the end, our lives may carry a narrative arc that we can only understand in hindsight. What feels random in the moment is part of a larger storyline. Even modern science hints at the illusory nature of randomness. Quantum physics shows that at the smallest scales, particles appear to move unpredictably, yet they still obey mathematical laws of probability. The famous double-slit experiment reveals that particles behave differently when observed, suggesting a mysterious link between consciousness and reality. This challenges the notion of true randomness and implies that what we perceive as chance may in fact be influenced by observation, intention, or unseen variables. When paired with spiritual insights that everything is connected, this science points to the possibility that nothing happens without reason, even if we cannot fully grasp the cause. Randomness becomes less about chaos and more about complexity, mystery, and perspective. Understanding randomness as an illusion shifts the way we live. Instead of dismissing events as meaningless, we begin to look for the threads of connection that weave them together. The missed bus that forces us to slow down, the unexpected meeting that changes our career, or the sudden delay that prevents us from harm. These are not just accidents, but pieces of a puzzle. When we treat life this way, every moment becomes infused with significance. Rather than feeling powerless in the face of chance, we recognize that we are participants in a larger, purposeful design. This doesn't mean we can predict everything, but it does mean we can trust that events carry meaning, even when it is not immediately visible. In the end, the illusion of randomness is a reminder of our limited perspective. What looks like chaos is often order too complex for us to trace, and what seems meaningless may be part of a profound pattern. By opening our awareness, we can begin to see beyond the veil, realizing that the universe is not a scatter of accidents, but a symphony of interconnected events. Randomness, then, is not reality but perception, and once we see through it, we discover that coincidences are not coincidences at all. They are the universe's way of revealing its hidden order, urging us to recognize the deeper meaning woven into every moment of our lives. At some point in our journey of questioning coincidences, recognizing synchronicities, and observing hidden patterns, we arrive at a profound realization: life is not a random sequence of events, but an intricate design woven with precision. Awakening to universal design is like pulling back a curtain and seeing that the chaos we once feared is actually a carefully orchestrated order. The moments we once dismissed as accidental begin to appear as intentional alignments. Each relationship, challenge, success, and even setback is revealed as part of a greater blueprint guiding us toward growth, awareness, and connection. This awakening does not mean that every detail of life is predetermined or scripted, but rather that the universe has a design in which free will and destiny coexist. Just as an artist paints within the boundaries of a canvas, or a composer writes music within the framework of harmony and rhythm, our lives unfold within a structure that allows both freedom and order. Recognizing this truth changes how we live, for we no longer see ourselves as victims of chance, but as co-creators of meaning in a living universe. The essence of this awakening lies in shifting perspective. For most of our lives, we are taught to see events as disconnected, as though one moment has little to do with the next. But when we begin to observe closely, we notice threads of continuity weaving through our experiences. Perhaps we meet someone at the exact moment we need guidance, or we encounter repeating lessons until we finally understand their purpose. These are not random accidents, but elements of a design that moves us forward. The ancient Hermetic principle, as above, so below, reflects this idea. The same order that governs the stars and galaxies also operates within the intimate details of our lives. Just as planets orbit with precision, so too do our experiences unfold with meaning, even when we cannot yet see the full pattern. Awakening to this truth allows us to live with trust, knowing that what feels uncertain or confusing in the moment will reveal its purpose in time. One of the most transformative aspects of awakening to universal design is the recognition of interconnectedness. Nothing in the universe exists in isolation. Our thoughts, emotions, actions, and choices ripple outward, influencing not only our own lives, but the lives of others and even the environment around us. Similarly, we are constantly influenced by forces beyond our immediate awareness. This interconnected web of existence is the fabric of universal design. When we notice synchronicities, repeating numbers, or meaningful encounters, we are witnessing the threads of this web in action. Each event connects to another, forming a network of meaning that transcends linear cause and effect. Awakening means seeing ourselves not as separate from this design, but as active participants in it, contributing to its unfolding through the energy we bring into each moment. This realization also transforms our relationship with challenges and struggles. In the past, difficulties may have seemed like cruel accidents of fate, random obstacles thrown in our path. But when viewed through the lens of universal design, even hardships become purposeful. A failed job opportunity may lead us toward our true calling. A painful relationship may teach us compassion, boundaries, or self-worth. A period of loss may open the door to deeper wisdom. When we awaken, we see that nothing is wasted. Every experience is a thread in the larger tapestry. This doesn't mean suffering is easy or should be romanticized, but it does mean that even pain carries meaning and can be transformed into growth. In the design of the universe, no moment is without value. Spiritual traditions across the world echo this truth in different languages. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of dharma points to the idea that every being has a role within the cosmic order. In Buddhism, the principle of interdependence teaches that all phenomena arise in connection with one another. In Christianity, the belief in divine providence reflects the idea that God's hand guides the course of life. Modern science, too, hints at design through discoveries in physics, biology, and cosmology. The fine-tuning of universal constants that allow life to exist, the fractal patterns repeating across scales of nature, and the interconnected ecosystems of Earth all point to a reality that is not random but ordered. Awakening to universal design is not about adopting any single belief system, but about recognizing the common truth they all touch upon. We live in a meaningful universe. Ultimately, awakening to universal design changes how we walk through the world. We become more present, more attentive, and more willing to trust the flow of life. Instead of resisting or fearing the unknown, we begin to see it as an unfolding story in which every page has purpose. We understand that coincidences are not accidents but signals, that patterns are not illusions but guidance, and that time itself is a rhythm carrying us toward greater awareness. With this awakening, we stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" We move from fear to trust, from doubt to clarity, from chaos to harmony. The illusion of randomness fades, and in its place, we see the brilliance of a universe alive with intelligence, design, and love. This is the essence of awakening, to finally realize that everything is connected, everything has meaning, and everything belongs to the grand architecture of existence. There are no coincidences, only the unfolding of universal design inviting us to awaken to who we truly are.